Alrighty, so welcome to the Life Tradeoffs Podcast. I'm your host, Nitin, and today I have more than one guest today. And it's actually two best friends who created a brand called Posh Evolution. And the story and the background behind this is so amazing. And I just want to hand the floor off to them already. And so, Izzy, can you tell me where you're from, and how did this all come to be? And Molly, you can step in whenever you need to.
Okay, yep. So I'm Isabel, or Izzy, and I am originally from upstate New York, Saratoga area. And I met my best friend and now business partner Molly at Bentley University. 5 years ago now? So
yep,
we've known each other for about forever. So you want to chime in on where you're from?
I'm also from New York. Go New Yorkers. We didn't know that when we became friends at Bentley in Massachusetts, but I'm glad it worked out because now we're back in New York together to work on Posh, and we're going to move in together soon.
Yeah, so I just moved down to the city in October, so I've only been here a few months, but it's fun and definitely the best place to be, starting a fashion business. I mean, just walking around, you see people in all these awesome outfits, so you get inspo all over the place.
Oh, definitely. And it's just, especially in New York City, like everyone's so like extra like exuberant.
Decked out.
Yeah, like look, I don't usually do this either. And I'm like, you guys are so out there and so like creative. I'm like, I gotta be somewhat creative because I'm always bland in my podcasts. And I really like what you guys are doing out here. And so through this brand. And so what does Posh Evolution even mean? Like to the average person, like, well, how would you explain it to them?
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with how we came up with the name. So essentially, we have this Excel spreadsheet, and we had over like 50 names, all surrounding fashion and sustainability. And we wanted the name to be the perfect intersection of those two meanings. And essentially, we decided Posh Evolution was the perfect fit. Posh actually is a word that originated in the UK, and it meant having this luxurious lifestyle, and we wanted to intersect that aspect of fashion with sustainability, so hence the evolution aspect of the name. And so we're trying to incorporate sustainability into our brand by upcycling fabrics that we use to create these pieces, and essentially giving clothing a longer life cycle.
That's awesome. And especially with like sustainability. And that's like a key thing today, especially with the rise of global warming and how the environment is being so impacted with everyday like activities. And so that's a great direction to go in. And so who makes the clothing? Do you guys create it together? Who stitches them? Like what's that whole process like?
So it started out that before Posh Evolution ever existed, we just both really like to sew. I've sewn since I was like 7. My first thing I've ever made was like towel pants because I was on the swim team. So I took like 2 towels and I just like made this like tiny pair of pants. But then, I mean, I had to start learning how to actually use the sewing machine. So I took a class. Like you can't just hand sew all the clothes. So I took a class and it was like me and like 6 old ladies. It was at like Joanne Fabric. But then I got a sewing machine and started making clothes more quickly, which was like kind of key because you could produce them faster. And then Izzy was hand sewing her clothes too. And I was like, this is so awesome that we both love to sew and we're best friends. So we might as well make something out of it. And then instead of just making like a business that's just sewing your own clothes, we were like, we should upcycle, thrift, put an importance on that since it is becoming more and more important today.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of brands today, like H&M, they're trying to come up with this like conscious collection. So we just want to be ahead of that curve. And I know there's a lot of other people that are getting involved with this too. We definitely get a lot of inspo from our friend Kiana Kanoa at Hoku magazine. So
shout out.
What are the chances that you guys meet in college, you guys love the same thing, and you guys create a brand together. Like, what?
That's why people are friends. They like the same things.
That is
Attract.
awesome.
Psychology. Yep.
Wow. So you guys came together, you're making these great clothings, modeling in them. It's amazing. And so who is this content for? Like, who's your intended audience? Or is it for everyone? Because fashion, I feel like, should be for everyone.
Yeah, I feel like right now, a lot of our creations so far are definitely geared towards women. Um, but we have talked about, we've discussed creating a men's line in the future.
Yeah.
So that's something that would be like a new area for us. We've never even like touched upon that. So that would be interesting to do. I actually have a lot of old fabrics of my dad's old clothes that I plan to do a lot with. That'll be exciting once we get into that. But definitely trying to target anyone really, any age group. And we're trying to get into any gender as well.
Yeah, I feel like the best part about this is that we can kind of explore all new avenues because there's like not a lot of pressure because it's more of like a side thing right now. So we can kind of just do any kind of experiment, any kind of direction we want to take it. There's a wrong way to go, which is one of the best parts. I would also say though that it's for like we're trying to make consumers more conscious about like kind of like where clothes end up. They end up like in oceans, and it's like we want more people to be more aware of this, more conscious.
100%. And so what I'm hearing is that in the future, there might be an opening for like a male sewer or a fashion designer.
Are you interested?
You know, my mom loves to sew and she's been sewing her whole life. And so I've seen that. It's really nice. I personally don't know how to, but I might love to
Oh,
learn.
we can teach you. We can
Yeah.
I mean, that would be great. I mean, fashion is something that I'm not really good at, but I'd be very open to learning, and you guys are great at that. So
Yeah, no, my first two pieces with Posh, I hand sewed, and I finally invested in a sewing machine, and um, I was working on it, and I just completely messed up a shirt. And Molly had to come over and teach me basically how to use the machine. But I did used to like my first sewing project was a pillowcase at my grandma's when I was like 5 or 6, so I was super young. But it's been a minute, so Molly had to reteach me. So it's teachable. We can definitely teach you.
so you're
Yeah.
saying I have hope.
Yes, you have hope.
Yeah. Once you do it once, you just like remember.
Yeah.
It's like muscle
Gosh.
memory.
It's like almost like playing the guitar. Once you learn like the chords, you can like keep on progressing using those skills that you've learned prior. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so, how long has it been that you created Posh?
Was it September, August?
I think it was September. It had to be September because we did our first photo shoot Labor Day weekend
Yeah,
with Lindsay.
which was in Boston, so that was
Yeah.
fun. Some other girl at school, we asked her to model our first 2 outfits, and it was a lot of fun. That was definitely like where we got started. And
Yeah. And I would have to say what we mentioned before, Kiana and Hoku, she really taught us how to do like a photo shoot, Hoku magazine, like kind of behind the scenes. Because right now, me and Izzy are wearing like all the hats. Like we're sewing, we're marketing, we're trying to like potentially profit off of it. And we're also doing the photo shoots and stuff. So it's like, but I would say Hoku taught us a lot about how to handle those photo shoots and how to shoot in film.
yeah, and we've been approached by people to like if we want professional photographers and stuff, but right now I think we're just trying to keep costs low, do everything ourselves. As Molly said, we're all the hats, and it's been fun and it's a learning experience. I say like the business aspect of it, we definitely need to work on. We're not quite sure how we're gonna turn this to be a more profitable brand, but that's something for the future.
Yeah, you guys love the process, which is like the key thing in this whole thing. Because
Mm-hmm.
once it gets to like, oh my God, we got to create to make money, your whole creativity, I think, gets distorted. It's like, are we creating to like for our enjoyment or to make that money? And so there should be a nice, healthy balance in that. And I feel like you guys are creating things so well. And I know you guys are going to do great in the future. And speaking of the future, where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years, 10 years for this brand? Like, what's the goal in 5 years, 10 years, and in the future in general?
So I would say for the brand, it's very different than our personal 5-year plans. But I would say that for the brand, we're getting much better at sewing things. Like we're becoming more effective and efficient with the sewing machine, and our ideas are just kind of like, because once we started collaborating, all the final products are better in collaboration. You can just build off each other's ideas. And I've already seen like, we're like together and we're like, what about this? What about this? And it just makes like the final product amazing. I think that's only going to get better. Um, and once it gets to a point where we feel comfortable, we would try to enter New York Fashion Week in some way. We had an offer last winter, but we felt like we weren't ready. We needed 8 pieces, and I feel like in the future when we definitely will take it there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
going along with that, I think 5-year, like, um, we're kind of balancing, like I said, like our accounting finance role. So like this is definitely a side gig. Like I get off work and then like whatever time I have on my free time, I like try to work on these pieces. But um yeah, I'd say 10-year plan would definitely be bigger. Like once we build up our brand image and build up our marketing, then maybe we can have more people join us. I just think more creative ideas helps the process, and then yeah, more fashion shows and maybe even pop-up shops in New York City. I know that there's a lot of those for startup brands and fashion companies. That would be
Mm-hmm.
exciting.
Yeah, now that
Absolutely.
we're in New York, I'm actually moving next fall, but I live like 20 minutes away from the city, so I'm always
You're all
scratching in
yeah,
Izzy's
lives
bed.
at my place basically.
I should start paying rent probably.
No, never.
But now we're gonna be both in New York, and we're just like easier access to the fashion industry.
Yes, it's the right place to be for sure for what we're trying to do.
Got you. And so have you guys looked into like brands at your size currently that have the same ambition or might have a different style and do a collaboration with them and make a piece together?
I would definitely be open to doing that. There's a bunch of like Instagram accounts and shops that with like websites that we kind of aspire towards. They kind of do it as a full-time thing. So yeah, we didn't really touch upon this, but me and Izzy are both in finance. Like I'm in accounting and she's in finance at big time like firms where we work a lot of hours at basically. But other people do this like full time. So I feel like we kind of need to look to them to model off what we want to do with our brand. But I would definitely love to collaborate with people eventually.
Yeah. Something like
Yeah, and I feel like that process really teaches you, like, if you work with someone else, you learn a few things from them. You can take it and implement into your own product. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
might have a better way of doing things efficiently. That it's like you break out of your shell and it helps you learn. And so, what are some things you've learned throughout this whole process of just creating and like how hard it is at times or how easy it is? Like, take me through that whole process.
I think one thing I've learned is that not everything's going to come out to be a perfect success. You start with a drawing board. I know Molly has her iPad, so she can use Procreate, but I literally start with like a pen and a paper and sketch, and I like write out all the measurements and everything, and I have this image in my head, and then you go to create fabric, and it doesn't fold the right way or something. So it doesn't always come out exactly how you want, but just knowing that there are going to be bumps in the process, even down to like the photo shoots. Something might go wrong with the model, might go wrong with the camera. Like you never know.
Yeah. No, that's totally so accurate. I second everything about that. You have a vision and the final product is never the same.
So
But that's like a part of like the learning process, as you're saying. Like you learn, oh, my sewing machine messed up. Now I know in the future how to fix that. And it's just like all a learning process. Or if it doesn't go the right way, you can build off that and be like, wait, this is even better than what I had originally thought. So it can always be spun in a great direction.
Yeah, I think the creative process has so much like leeway and so much open space that you can just venture in. And
Exactly.
yeah, and so like take me through an actual piece that you guys created, how you went from nothing to stitching it together to modifications, modeling, and all of that jazz. Like, I want to hear about this. I feel like this would be really interesting, and I can't see anything in this, so this is going away.
What do you think, Izzy? Should we use one of these?
Yeah, you should. I have a few pieces next to me as well. I mean, we literally, to show you one to start, we literally start with a piece of fabric. So this was once a full dress, and now we're turning it into a one sleeve top. And
We
Molly,
thrifted it.
and it's thrifted. This is material from a thrift store.
Yeah. So first we went to thrift stores and we were like, what fabrics do we like? What could we see? And it was actually kind of hard. Remember, Izzy? We were like in the store and we were like, I don't know like how this will look, but I know I like this fabric, so let's just get the fabric.
Yeah.
But and like another thing, like Izzy mentioned before, she has a bunch of her dad's clothes that she was thinking about upcycling, and that's like originally how a lot of the pieces I've made started, is like I take old clothes and kind of rework them. So this was originally a dress, like a one-piece dress, and I used the trim actually on this jacket, the pink trim. And then for the this two-piece, I basically just, you cut it, you re-stitch it. I added this trim.
Zoom in on the jewels.
Oh yeah, and then the jewels. So I went to go visit Izzy last weekend, and I walked into this fabric store, and they had all these jewels, and I was like, this would be perfect because actually something that happened was I sewed it with black stitching underneath the sewing machine, and I didn't think it was going to show, and then it ended up showing, and I was like, I need to cover it somehow because it's pink and it has black stitching. So then we decided to put this trim on it, and it totally covers it. So that's just like another example of how when something goes wrong, you can just adapt and make it even cuter, because now I'm like, we should have done this from the beginning.
Yeah. And it's like, if you never put that black trim, you would have never had the idea to do something like that.
Exactly. I would have been like, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so now we went to the creative part, how you stitch things together. Now take me through like the modeling process. Like who decides, okay, I'm gonna wear it, or do you guys both wear it and then take pictures? And what type of angles do you take? And how did you learn that whole process?
Have we ever modeled our own?
Neither of us have ever even modeled our own clothes.
I think the best part of this is seeing other people like glowing and create in clothes that you've created. So it's definitely like awesome to see other people rocking them. But yeah, our process of creating of choosing the models, just kind of anyone that fits the whole outfit vibe. And we have, again, in our like Excel sheet, we have a list of potential people and just anyone who is supportive of us and of what our brand is saying about sustainability.
Yeah, we use a lot of our friends. Like all of them have been mostly our friends, but also through our friend Kiana and Hoku, like they know models and they have a lot of photo shoots. So we're actually going to send her a piece for them to shoot out in Maui, Hawaii. So that'll be our next photo shoot location.
It's such a nice thing to hear of how collaborative the environment is. It's like you can do it across states, across oceans, and still have the main like goal of creating a great image and product. And especially with the sustainability point, that you guys are going to thrift stores, you guys are taking clothes that people would overlook and creating art from it. And that's just amazing. And that's always been the goal, right? Always taking things that would have been overlooked and creating something great out of it that someone would not overlook.
Someone's old is our gold.
We're trying to expand the life cycle of just any piece of clothing. It shouldn't just be a one-time Instagram pic. It should be reworked to be a brand new piece that someone can wear.
I know.
Got you. And so any advice for like aspiring designers that are like too shy, too hesitant, or just plain say, I can't do it because I don't feel like I'm capable of it?
Wow, that's a good question.
I would say just go for it. Just try. Even if you fail, like, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely taken a long time to get to the point where we are now, because we like sew, and then we have to like go do our business jobs and stuff. So, and there's been times where I'm like, I don't even know if I'm into this anymore. So I feel like that's totally natural for people to feel that way. But if you just keep trying, it's like, don't put pressure on yourself. Just do what you want to do, and it'll turn out the way you want.
I'd say one thing I've learned, I second all of that, Molly, is that the process is so much longer than you think. Like we literally walk to the stores, pick out a fabric that looks nothing like the pieces once they're complete. And then once we have those fabrics, then we have to decide what works well together, what type of piece are we going to turn this into. And then once we have that, then sketching that out, getting the measurements, and then actually doing the cutting, the sewing, and then putting them together, and then finding a model and planning that photo shoot. And then once you're doing that photo shoot, making sure you have everything because you have one shot at it, and then getting those photos, whether it's film, getting those processed and everything, and then finally bringing that onto our social media page. So it is like a whole process to get even just one outfit. So I would say one thing to anyone aspiring to get to create their own brand or to get into making clothes even as a hobby, it's a process. You have to be patient, and then also just stick with it, be determined, because there are going to be days when you're like, I don't know if this is coming to fruition the way we expected. But I think looking back at what we have accomplished, it's so motivating. Like, I don't know, to think that you called me in September and you're like, want to do this with me? Like, I think we can. Like, we both have the talent to do this. Like, let's go for it. And seeing where we are now, it's like, okay,
it's been so worth it.
Yeah, and it's like that's the encouraging part of this whole process, is that you take pictures, it's a visual image, you can see the progression of where you've come, and that always motivates you to keep on creating. It's like, I might not have as many people as I want seeing this or the type of exposure currently, but obviously that's not where you're going to end up. That's just the whole process. You see, from the beginning, there's no one, there's no idea, nothing. Currently, you're at this journey. And every day you just continually add on. And the main thing is just making progress each and every day. Obviously, like, every journey has its downfalls of, do I really need to put time into this because I don't feel like the same energy that I felt initially. And that's really normal, because honestly, I felt the same way about this podcast or any other ambitions, like becoming actuary, for example. That's a long process, and it's a big decision you have to make.
A lot of tests.
Exactly. And this tests you a lot as well. And so, hold up. I just got a gift from Zoom, running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute time limit from your group meeting. All right. Thank you, Zoom.
Good karma.
All right. So they appreciate this content as well. So that's staying in the podcast. So what I'm saying is that the journey is so exciting that where there's good, there's going to be bad. And you got to have more goods than bad that ultimately make you feel happy about this as well. And it's really like inspiring. Like, I take an inspiration from you guys oftentimes when I feel down because of how well you create your things. And so who do you look up to when you create? Like, let's say you're starting a new piece and you're like, okay, I really like this person's design and I want to take inspiration from them. Like, who do you look up to?
We like send each other constantly on Instagram or Pinterest. We have a collaborative Pinterest board where we just save like inspirations. Like, we'll see like how a dress is made, and like for like a one strap example, like just the other day we sent it to each other and we were like, this would be so cool to create. So it's very visual. It's very like, we could do that if we move these pieces here.
Yep. I'd say it's just like so many artists that we follow on Instagram, I'd say, is our main main place that we find these artists. But just kind of taking some of their visuals and incorporate our own ideas into it. This one silk top that I made, I actually got inspo from, I want to say it was Revolve or something. It was like a similar style, and I remember seeing it, and I think it was like $300 or $400, and I was like, wait a sec. I was like, I think I could make that. So I guess just all over the place. You get ideas and info from anywhere.
Yeah. You kind of see what's trending too.
Trending. Yeah, so we've been doing research on spring trends because that's going to be our first full collection. And once we have all those pieces, maybe we can submit an application into a fashion show. But for the spring collection, we're definitely trying to get ahead of the trends, what's going to be in. So yeah.
Yeah, and like the key thing about inspiration is that it can come from anywhere. You can be walking down the block, you can be in the shower, it could be before you sleep. It's crazy to just
Yeah.
imagine where all these things just come from. And you know what's a scary thing that I've thought about is like all of the things that you decided not to do. Like imagine like you not creating this.
Yeah.
You would have
I see what
never
you're
had
saying.
all of these experiences. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be sitting here with me right now. We wouldn't be talking.
It's the butterfly effect. That's my
Yeah.
favorite
That
psychology
was one of
effect.
our name options, was the butterfly effect, remember?
Yep. But we were like, no, we can't use that. That's a psychology term.
Yeah,
But
I would definitely say like inspiration, like you're saying, like comes and goes. Like sometimes I have creative blocks, like anyone has like writer's block or like anything. And sometimes I'm like, I cannot picture what this is going to be. And then other times I'm like randomly like sitting in the back of a car and I'm like furiously typing into my notes section of my phone. I'm like, this would be cool. Like you never know when you're going to get it.
absolutely. And it's so funny you say that because yesterday I was talking to an artist and he created, so he makes music and he wrote a whole album in 2 days. And it wasn't because he set that goal, but rather the inspiration just came out of nowhere that he just kept on writing. Because I feel like for these type of things, we can't set like a set like time of, okay, let's meet on Monday at 5:30 and let's talk, because
Yeah.
you don't know where your head's going to be at. You don't know where everything's going on in the world or in your lives. You might not have that inspiration at that time. But then, as like Molly said, oh, I'm just going to write it down right now. When it comes later, we need to talk. I can always talk about it because I had that inspiration now. I can refer back to it later. And that's the crazy thing about it. But you guys are living crazy lives as well. It's like you guys are working while having this side hustle and your jobs are intense as well. So what's that balance like? How do you manage this?
I would say I was a lot more involved with Posh early this fall, and then things got super busy around the holiday season, at least in my industry. So Molly's definitely been taking a lead with the social media posting, which I appreciate a lot. But I think, I mean, she understands that I'm busy with work, and I understand when she can't do stuff as well. And like, I think we obviously need to have this work-life balance. I mean, we can't do this without our jobs
Yeah.
we have right now in order to get all these upcycled fabrics to work with.
That was like one of my main things when we had first thought of the idea. I was like, I don't want this to be a source of pressure at all. Like I want this to be like our fun creative outlet. And
Yeah.
it's worked out pretty well. And if that ever needs like change in the future, which probably not anytime soon because we're literally just starting out in our careers, but then we will have that conversation then. But for now, it's kind of more like hobby, fun way for us to express ourselves in a way we can't in the business world.
I think it's also just like super healthy for my mental health to go from
Yeah.
staring at a computer doing finance all day long for like 9-10 hours straight, and then to be able to just log off and like use my hands and
Yeah.
draw pieces. And so it's so much fun.
It's like therapeutic. Like everyone has like their little outlet. Like people like to clean, it calms them down. People like to meditate, whatever. When I'm sewing, I'm just so calm that it's like a perfect therapy.
It's great.
It's like almost not like a chore. It's like I love it.
No.
It's like I want to do this. And
Yeah.
so when
I
I'm
mean, we're not doing this for profits or anything right now. Like it's just
Yeah, it's like literally fun.
and that's the best part. And so let's say someone's listening to this right now and they're interested. What do you look for in someone that wants to work with you?
Positive attitude.
and someone unique and creative that can bring good ideas, I guess. I think,
Gotcha.
yeah, I think between Molly and I, we like to bounce ideas off each other. But yeah, I'd say the more people, the more ideas, the better.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotcha. And so you're going through Instagram. Is it like ever like when you look through Instagram feeds and see how abundant all of these fashion designers are, in every industry, there's so many people. How do you get through that mindset of there's so many people I have to compete against? How am I going to succeed in this space? Like, how do you convince yourself that you can get through this and go where you want to be?
I think a lot of people have unique styles. So there's this one girl we follow on Instagram that has this really unique style of like, I don't know, a lot of paper clips. Do you remember the name, Molly?
I don't know the name, but I know what you're saying, like the safety pins.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like drawing on fabric. So it's like unique styles. Like it's kind of like a grunge style. And I think Molly and I are still kind of working out our style, like on like a higher level. But I'd say just trying to find your unique space within the industry. Obviously, we're niche in the aspect that we are only upcycled fabrics. We are focused on sustainability, and I guess right now we're focused on women's clothing. But I'd say just figuring out our brand image is gonna help us keep. Yeah.
Gotcha. Would you ever consider making such an abstract piece of, like, let's say, I don't know, the other day I saw a woman wear like a trash bag and she like modeled it in a way that looks like a regular dress. Have you ever thought of that in like that regard of going just out there? One of these pieces, I just want to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
that
not
idea.
a trash bag. I don't think that's us.
I think the thing about New York City is you can walk down the street and literally, like you said, a trash bag and no one look twice. So yeah.
Anything. Yeah, I think that's the best part is like there's no limit, but like that's anything creative is that you can literally like go any like length with the pieces.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts? Or Izzy, you can go.
I was just gonna say, another thing I forgot to mention earlier is like one of the best parts about this is like having our friends or just people we know from school supporting us by giving us their old clothes that they're not going to wear again. I mean, we've been given like a trash bag full of clothes, which is so cool that we can use these fabrics to create something new that they weren't going to wear again. They were just going to throw away. So that's another important aspect of this is seeing like the support from people that we know.
Yeah, literally it makes me so happy when they're like, we were going to throw these out and then I thought better to give it to us and then I'm like, that's like the exact point of this whole thing. Don't throw out your clothes, like upcycle them. I was at a gas station literally this summer and I saw a kid from my high school and I was like, oh my God, I love your jacket. And he was like, thanks, I just thrifted it because I was following Posh and I like didn't know really about thrifting and it inspired me to thrift. And I was like, this is exactly why we're doing it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And like people I feel like have the wrong there's a stigma against like thrift stores. It's like,
yeah,
why would I buy secondhand? Or I don't like want it because someone else has worn it, or there's some dirty aspect to it. But rather, there's history attached to it. There's someone wore this once, and you're appreciating that by wearing it again. You're making fashionable. You're going out there and putting it on. It's like, what's the difference between a designer like $5,000 shirt or sweater between that? Nothing. It's just your mindset of how you think that piece looks.
Yeah.
If I change the name of the store to not the thrift store, but rather a designer company, and I left the same clothes inside, 100% you'd buy it.
Yeah. And even if the clothes are out of style in thrift stores, I mean, doesn't mean we can't cut them up and reuse the fabric for something entirely new. I mean, that's the best part.
Yeah, that is the best part. And like I use my two favorite, I would say like secondhand apps are Depop and Poshmark. And I will literally like they just have such cuter, in my opinion, clothes than even the fast fashion ones that are going on. Like kind of like iconic, kind of what you're saying, abstract pieces that you really can't find anywhere. So that's why I prefer it anyway.
Absolutely. And it's just makes you appreciate it as well. And so, what are your thoughts on, I know we're getting a little off topic, but like full body like paint, like people who make like an outfit, it's not even an outfit, they just put paint on themselves and they make it look fashionable. Like, what are your
like
thoughts
in New
on
York
that?
City, like
Yeah.
the naked people with paint everywhere.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's art.
Yeah, it's art.
Would you ever venture in that direction, or is it like strictly like
Maybe it's like an accessory to the clothes, but I don't like if we had just done paint and no clothes, it kind of wouldn't be like what we're doing anymore. But maybe as like an accessory, yeah.
And I have like a pair of white jeans that I've already talked to Molly about this, but I plan to get some fabric paint and paint on those. So I guess
Oh yeah,
intersecting paint and art with the fabric.
Yeah, absolutely. And like finding like maybe paints that are created from sustainable goods as well. Like the paint itself is that. Oh my God, that's amazing. It's like everything is like you can break it down.
Yeah, you really can. We'll have
Wow.
to look into sustainable paint for that.
So, you know, we've gone through this journey of how you created the brand. And would you ever consider, like we talked about the pop-up shop, but like an actual store one day of these clothes? What do you think?
When I was thinking about the future of Posh, I was thinking, yeah, maybe like 10 years down the line, I could honestly picture Molly and I having a studio and having a lot of other creative artists with us, helping out with the process. And maybe someday we can just be the design and, I don't know, have other people bring our products to life that are maybe more talented at sewing than us.
Yeah. Yeah, like it would be like a boutique or something maybe in New York City, or maybe Europe, Milan, one of the fashion capitals, or maybe we'll have multiple locations, but that would be incredible. That's like my dream.
That's so exciting. And so how are you guys prepping for Fashion Week? Like what's the process like?
We're in the middle of a new collection coming for the spring.
So yeah, it all starts the design phase, and then over the next few months, we'll be actually creating the pieces, and then yeah.
So is there like an overall theme?
For the spring, I don't know exactly yet, but I was kind of looking into like pastels and stuff, like light green. Something else, like I love flowers, like bloom. Maybe something like that. But we have to research, I think, trends more, like what's going to be like on trend and stuff before we like.
Yeah, and I think looking at last spring, right, as everything was going into lockdown, I mean, the trends were all tie-dye, sweatpants, comfy clothes, because everyone was just staying home, not doing anything. So we were thinking this spring, I bet people are going to be going all out. Like I bet like I don't know, like cute accessories like hand gloves are going to be back in, and like just going out clothes, because I know everyone misses the social aspect of pre-lockdown.
Yeah.
So we want to incorporate that, make people feel posh, I guess, when they go out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, it's great, that whole process, but then throughout that process, there's hurdles and things as well that you have to manage. And so how do you get through a dispute between creative ideas? Because there's always a clash of here's how I think of it and here's how you think of it. So do you guys say, okay, we disagree, but let's come back to it and maybe I'll agree with you, or maybe we could meet in the middle? How does that work between you guys?
Molly, have we ever had a dispute?
Honestly, no. And I think that goes back to like the no pressure thing of kind of what Posh is to us, because like we wouldn't take it as a dispute. It's not like the pressure of we have to get this out, we have to do this now. Like it's really not like that. It's more like taking each other's ideas and bringing them to an end goal together. Like whatever we think is best together, we will do.
I would say maybe for our social media posts, we like discuss like what would be best, like incorporating different aspects. But as far as the design phase, I mean, I love all of Molly's ideas. I've never been like,
Yeah,
you guys. Like it would never happen.
it's definitely not a negative environment.
No. And I don't want, we like agreed on this like day one. We're like, this doesn't come between our friendship. Like you always hear stories about people starting businesses as friends, and like, and then it turns terrible, and then so yeah, it's definitely no pressure.
Yeah.
First.
That's so great to hear. And so you guys are moving together. You're going to going to live in the same place. So what's the point, or what's the benefit of living in New York?
Have you ever been to New York?
I live in New York. I know. I just want for the listeners, but like, I mean, I can tell the story, but I want to hear from you guys. Like, what's it beneficial for you? I mean, between you and like Idaho, what's the difference?
Oh my
New York
God,
is
the
a
energy.
fashion playground.
Yes, it's just like a little playground of fun that you feel like there's no limit at all. There's all these opportunities, just walking down the street, seeing everyone in like so different outfits. Like the diversity is just like taken to a new level in New York. People from everywhere doing whatever they want. No one's judging anyone. It's just like this like cluster of people that I just want to be a part of.
And like we were saying earlier, with like eventually getting into pop-up shops, there's like a few like right around the block from me in Midtown, and it's so cool to go in and see these designers that we've like never heard of, and like
Mhm.
no one really has ever heard of, and supporting them and like seeing um, just seeing stores that aren't mainstream, and like these people that are just starting fashion brands trying to make
Yeah,
it. So pop-up shops are huge in New York. Those are really cool.
the fashion is just incredible. Like we were saying before, is like you can wear anything and no one cares, and just like that's what you need, outlandish kind of style.
Yes. And
So,
for the photo shoots, I mean, I can go on. Like
Yeah, so many
thrift
places.
stores here are immaculate. Like it's crazy. You walk into these thrift stores and it's like a fabric
Yeah,
heaven. It's just so
yeah,
much. Yes.
yeah.
so there's like so many mysteries within the city of like, oh my God, I never knew about that unless I explored it. So you see all of these things, but then it inspires you to create. And so that's for the brand. But then individually, personally, how has this journey and creative process helped you as a person? Hard questions. I'm coming on the spot. I
I like
know these.
Helped
a
me,
deep answer.
helped me. Like I would say, kind of what we were saying before about like the therapy side, kind of just like a way for me to be creative and kind of just like find yourself. Like I'm even just looking at my drawings now, like it's not just about sewing the clothes, it's about everything that goes into it and what you learn from it.
And I would say the future connections and collaborations we're gonna have, like the people like doing this with you, like this is like so awesome, and like the
Yeah.
future collaborations are gonna be great. Like um, that's really exciting working with other talented artists.
And working with the models, like asking our friends to model for us, they get so excited. And honestly, I would say that's like the gratification stage for me. When I'm like, when we're taking the pictures and like they're in the outfit, and I'm just like, this is exactly what I pictured and what I wanted. And like,
Exactly.
that's the gratification for sure. Not like my sewing machine broke and I'm so frustrated. Like, but it
Yeah,
makes it worth it.
it makes it worth it the times that you almost throw your sewing machine across the room because something's just not working.
Already working.
It's like the end product is like so great that it makes all of the things you went through worth it.
hmm
100%.
So, you mentioned collaborations. Are there any like, oh my God, I really want to collaborate this thing. This is the pinnacle of collaborations one day in the future. This is my goal to collaborate with this brand or this person.
This is gonna be super cheesy, but definitely Kiana, her best friend, with Hoku magazine, because she shoots these amazing sustainable brands. I mean, you name it, like top sustainable fashion brands, and so to be featured on that would be really cool for me.
Yeah, it's like only purely sustainable brands that she features, which is such a good concept too. So I think that like, yeah, any collaboration with people who also believe that fast fashion needs to slow down would be a great collaboration, something we strive for.
So, you mentioned collaborations now, but let's go into how you market a product. So, what's that process like? So, do you sketch up a whole process of, all right, so we can't go out during COVID, or we would be hosting like sessions outside of here, let's model something in front of you, or just let's show you our pieces, or a process like that. But it's difficult right now, especially like in New York City where people really love to go outside, but they can't really because of all the restrictions. But what are some ways you like to market things, or are you going to in the future?
Yeah, so neither of us were in marketing, but so it's kind of been like, for me at least, it was kind of hard, the marketing side of this. Like, we take pictures, yes, and we post them on our social media page, yes, but there's so much more into marketing, like the analytics of it, like who is your target consumers, like how many of them have been like searching your page and stuff. So I think that's something that I would like to find out more about. But also we're looking to make a website because we don't have a website yet. We just have an Instagram page. So when we launch our next collection, we're looking to make a website with it.
I would second all those.
Got you. And so, like right now, you're creating products, but then you're creating pieces. And so eventually in the future, like there could be like an overlap of these products with other clothes that makes a whole outfit. Like you make your own shoe someday that's sustainable. It goes within that fit. It has that skirt with that top, with the hat, maybe everything's sustainable, 100%. That would be amazing to look at. And like, I feel like people would be really into like rocking that as well. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd say right now, looking at past photo shoots, we have used like some accessories that aren't like 100% sustainable, but that is definitely the dream. I mean, people want to support brands like ours that are 100% committed to it. And even in our own lifestyles, like we are really trying to completely cut out just non-sustainable fashion shopping. And we want to, I mean, they say like you have to live it if you're going to try to sell it. So.
Absolutely. And so, as some parting words for our listeners, any message that you want to give them of through this process for life in general, anything that you guys want, let them know.
Molly?
Never give up on your dream.
I would say
easy.
definitely that. That's always a good one. But I think it was sophomore year of college. I wanted to be a mermaid for Halloween. And
You were gonna say a mermaid, like I just want to be a mermaid when I grow up.
I went to the ocean. No. I couldn't find a cute costume, so I just bought some sewing stuff and some shells and like sewed together a mermaid top. And I loved that, but I just like never kept doing that. Looking back, I'm like, wow, I wish I had like just kept making little stuff like that because it would have helped me now. But I would say if you find joy or like even that you find you're talented at something, like definitely follow through with it because it could turn out to be something bigger. I mean, who knows where we'll be 10 years down the line, but I'll always have that little mermaid top that I made that I found my love for sewing.
Yeah, so like always make time for what you love.
Yeah.
That's such a good message, especially now. It's like times can be so demotivating.
Yeah.
Dreams you've had are like destroyed because you feel that you can't achieve them anymore because of the circumstances. And it's like, it's dependent on how much you're willing to put in. It's like, am I willing to put in more work even though the circumstances are all against me? And that's what I really appreciate about you guys' brand is that you guys are consistent. You always have that creative process. It's not forced. It's always natural. It's like they're doing something right and this feels right. And so that's why I feel like you guys, 5-10 years down the line, we will see like Posh be something greater. And that's the best part of this journey is like, you know, all of the hurdles you have to go through to get to where you want to be. And that's the inspiring part. I hope you guys continue to inspire, create, enjoy the process. And that is the end of this episode with Posh Evolution. Feel free to check them out in the description below and check out their brand because they are up and coming and they are going to take the market by storm this fashion week. And I thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you for having us.
This is fun.
Yeah, no problem. And whenever you guys are doing a launch or something, feel free to come back on. Do some deep dives into how you created those products or how the experience was for Fashion Week and the whole thing. And I'd be interested to listen to that.
Maybe this summer after the show we can. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.